Alright, so for anyone wondering, no, I used to have an Elgato game capture, but I sold it. Um, I don't really give much of a shit, so it's not like we're going to be seeing any high quality gameplay. We're just going to be doing what my hero Endless Chess is doing right now, just talking about every fucking game I have in my library. Uh, okay, let's go. A Hat in Time. Uh, this game's fucking good, and you should get it. Um, I haven't gotten the DLC yet, and as a matter of fact, I haven't even beaten the game. I've been distracted by other things, but A Hat in Time, for all I've gotten, it's fucking good. Obviously, like honestly, the thing that bothers me in the game the most is how the graphics look, because all of the simple shapes with simple shading on them, as well as textures overlaid on it for faces. I actually really like that. It reminds me of Beautiful Joe, how everyone's face was just changing textures and like anime lip flaps. It was a really cool aesthetic, and I like seeing other games with it instead of having to have like incredibly realistic mocap fucking David Cage face beads captured from real actors on every face. It's simple, it's cool. But it really screams indie game, the aesthetic. You can feel it in your bones. So if the game was straight up cell shaded and had strict two-tone or three-tone shading, it would have worked a lot better, I think. Um, but honestly, and also a lot of character designs and character models are just fucking weird, and aren't fully realized in 3D. Like a lot of, like the disco penguin guy, his model straight up looks incomplete. Um, but irregardless, the game's fun. It controls perfectly. The sense of humor is not a groan fest, which it absolutely could have been, but it dodges it. It's never been too obnoxious. Um, I'm gonna lean back in my couch and see if that fucks up the volume at all. Um, I am able. I have been told that I am able to project very loudly. So anyway, no, Hand in Time's fucking good. Everything you heard about it's good. I heard there's co-op. That's good. It's all just fucking good. Music's not incredible, but you know, aesthetically the game is just okay, but where it counts, the game gets you. Like the first world, the level design of the very first world, Mafia Town, it was labyrinthine at first glance. It was really cool exploring that whole city, how it had all these weird little districts and like a beach area and a bunch of caves and all these secrets I still haven't like fully discovered yet. Super fucking cool. Good game. 10 out of 10. Yeah, that dead meme. Yeah, it's good. Attack on Titan. This is another one I haven't beaten. I have a backlog of a lot of games. I haven't beaten a lot of the games I own, and as a matter of fact, I have them sorted into folders of shit I need to finish, and then shit that I need to finish too, which I have on hiatus. Yeah, I don't know, man. Video games. So, Attack on Titan, I've never actually played a Muso game. They're not really my thing. I have some friends who are into the Nintendo ones, like Hyrule Warriors and Fire Emblem Warriors, but for the rest of the series, I really don't give a shit. Um, but, because that kind of action game is just not appealing to me. I want something more thoughtful, more one-on-one, like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta or God Hand or whatnot. But it's I had also just heard nothing good about them. Like people always say that they're popcorn games, but some people say that some of them are worse than the others, and I don't know what that means, and I don't care to try. But Attack on Titan is obviously a completely different thing, and it's pretty fun. I don't really give a shit about the anime. The game just looked exciting. I got this for Christmas actually. Um, it it just didn't. I don't know. I don't give a shit about the anime, and I don't give a shit about Muso games, but so that should say something when I say that this game is pretty fun. It's a good time. It's kind of arcadey. It kind of reminds me of Gunslinger Stratos, like wielding your character with all this weird, highly specific maneuverability stuff. The game's pretty easy so far. But it seems to have some level of strategy to it. Yeah, I think I'm not sure if the second one's already out yet. I don't really give a shit. Batman Arkham Knight. I was really into Arkham City. I haven't played much of this at all since I got it, and I got it a long time ago. But the disc, when I insert the disc, it repeatedly makes the sound it's only supposed to make when the disc is first booting up in my PS4, and so I'm kind of concerned about that, and I don't really like it. Um, it puts me off. So that's the main thing that's been keeping me from playing this. But Arkham City, I actually haven't played Arkham Asylum. The only one I've played is City, and that's the only one I've particularly cared for. I got all the single player DLC for it because the Catwoman DLC came with it, and then I got the Robin thing after. Um, but Arkham City I was really into. I was a god at Arkham City. I got really good at it. I played it a lot because for a long time, back when I had first got my PS3, and we couldn't afford a whole lot of video games, that was just what I played the most. And I distinctly remember playing that and Sonic Generations a lot. But, you know, you hear everything about Arkham Knight, you know, it's like the map's way bigger, it might be kind of bloated, it has these bullshit Batmobile sections that are kind of weird and unnecessary, no one gives a shit, but, you know, the game's probably fucking good. I'd probably enjoy it if I went ahead and played it, but, you know. Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. I don't actually own this game. This is the install data from a friend's copy. This game sucks balls. Not a big fan of this game. Not a big fan of Blaze Blue in general. I am a big proponent, however, of Under Night in Birth and Ultimax, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. I did have Persona 4 Arena and its sequel were fucking good and great, and they were part of what got me into Persona in the first place. Persona is like the only RPG series I give a shit about, so that's cool. Um, yeah. And then fucking Under Night in Birth. Under Night in Birth, you know, and it's just it's the best game ever, you know. I bought it when it first came out in the States on PS3. It was the first game I ever pre-ordered. Was Under Night in Birth. And I feel like a fucking idiot because the first time I booted it up with a friend, we played it once and we didn't play it again. For like 9 months later. So why the fuck it like ruined the point of even pre-ordering it. It was just something I heard about. Yeah, I'll buy this fucking anime game. But it wasn't until we played it a second time and I actually bothered to Google the systems and like figure out what they were. Like, okay, it's a 3-button fighter, this is what the special button does, this is how the supers work and the specials. And all that other stuff, that combined with the art style and just the general kinesthetics or game feel, for the layman, it it just feels great to control, and that's really the basic thing. It's just a fucking fun game to control the characters and move them around, even disregarding all the advanced mechanics. It's just fucking fun, man. And I really love the art style. I love the big old bug anime eyes. That's totally my jam. I like how how the characters do in Persona Q. I don't give a shit about Persona Q though. Persona Q is like fucking gay. It's like I don't care about RPGs except Persona, so Etrian Odyssey. No thanks, man. Uh, but yeah, Persona, Ultimax, Under Night, cool. Ruby, um, I watched a little bit of Ruby on Netflix at the behest of a friend, and I still remember the most striking part of Ruby, I feel like for most people, is just remembering seeing the first scene for the first time. Because it just looks like the opening cutscene of a Devil May Cry game. Like you have this cool chick with a cool character, like a cool gothic character design, beating up all these identical enemies. You're just waiting for it to go to the mission start screen so that you can start killing all these fucking identical dudes in suits. Ruby, I watched up until season 3, I believe, which was right before they did the model upgrade, and I've watched a couple episodes of season 4, and I suppose you could say that it's on hold. I just haven't gotten around to watching it again. It was good. You know, I didn't hate it. Obviously, my biggest complaint with the show was I don't know. Some parts of it were like kind of Tumblr-y. Not the part where everyone's named after like a historical figure, like Jean d'Arc or whatever. Like the dude, he's like named after Joan of Arc. There's the one kid who's like Satan Taisei or fucking Goku, the monkey kid from Journey to the West or whatever. There's like all that mythological stuff is cool and whatever, but then there's fucking I don't know, Ruby's voice. That's the biggest complaint. That's the biggest complaint about the show, and it would be a dick move for them to replace the actress now. Um, so we're kind of fucked, you know? Fucked with this show. That's okay, but this character, she's fucking annoying. Um, and maybe she'll have a cool character arc, but I don't like, you know, unlike me to be mocking anybody's voice or ability to speak, but I hate her fuck. In the words of Spoonie, I hate her squealy nasal fucking voice, and that's especially bad in this game because you're hearing her bark all the fucking time. You know, but yeah, just the systems of the to come around, to really come around to Blaze Blue. Weird that this was the game I had the most to actually say about, but because I haven't played this game much at all. Blaze Blue itself sucks and I don't care. Blaze Blue is the exact kind of anime that I don't like. Under Night is A plus. Guilty Gear is also A plus. Blaze Blue is a shitty Guilty Gear, and it's super complicated, and I don't give a fuck, and I don't care. Um, and yeah, the game feel in this one is just bad. Like, you can't walk. You can only run forward. And the rounds are super weird and short. I mean, I haven't watched any high-level play, but I don't fucking care to, because the game doesn't feel good to control. It doesn't feel good to play your characters. It's dumb. It's bad. No one should play it. Broforce is a multiplayer game, so I only play when I have friends over, so I haven't beaten this either. Yeah, all non-beaten these first few. Don't worry about it. We'll get to some. We'll get to some later. Broforce is really fun little game. You get to play as all these little parody characters of action heroes. For anyone who doesn't know, you can play as like the Brominator, Rambro, the Bro, which is supposed to be the bride from Kill Bill. Blade Bro, as in Marvel movie, Wesley Snipes, some motherfucker's always trying to ice skate uphill. Yeah, it's just fucking fun. It's a fun game. Destructible environments. It's very chaotic. It's kind of difficult. Because like the screen is really complicated and filled with shit, and your guy is really tiny. But I do like the way how it forces you to play as a different bro every time. Like every respawn, you're a different dude. I think that's an interesting part of the mechanics. But otherwise, yeah, game's just fucking good. Game's just good. I think it's interesting that you can completely fuck yourself out of victory by destroying too much of the environment. In certain situations. There are undestructible blocks, but, you know, you should play Broforce. It's fun. Have a bro over, bro out with your bros, bro. Chaos Code. New Sign of Catastrophe. This is an obscure little anime fighter that is fucking cool. It's just really simple. It's rendered in 4... The interesting thing about it... Well, the thing that I hate the most about the game is that the whole game has this blur filter over not just the sprite art, but like the whole game just has this slight blur filter. And that always sucks, because with sprites, you want to see every little square pixel in all its square pixely glory. and it just, the game would just look better without it. And there's no option to turn it off. There's barely any visual settings at all. Um, so last as I fucking heard, like, yeah. Um, but yeah, kinesthetics are pretty good. Run speed's a little low, but the character designs aren't too bad. There's this little boy and this little girl who are like brother and sister, and they do like ballet duo team up shit together. You play as them as one character, so they're kind of like ice climbers. But in a more traditional fighting game, they're cool. There's this big beefy Italian dude who's like a chef. His name is Bravo or something. And he's a grappler. He like catches you inside of a giant saucepan and like bounces you up and down like he's flipping an omelet. And like a frying pan, and he's like a grappler, and he'll throw you around, he'll throw you real good, and it's a fun fucking game. It's kind of like Third Strike. You pick what supers or special abilities you have. You pick whether or not your character runs forward when you double tap forward, like in a KOF game, or if they dash, like in Street Fighter. Um, it has a lot of interesting variety to it. A lot of the sprite art is kind of amateurish and ugly, honestly. And this is just regardless of whether or not it was blurred out or not. Like a lot of characters who are really sexy on the character select screen are not sexy when you see their sprites. A lot of hot chicks, a lot of voluptuous chicks, not rendered in their full sexy glory when you actually get into the sprite art. So, um, but it's still like a fun game. Like honestly, having your sexy characters not be sexy in game is kind of a big drawback for me, because like boners, but you know it's fun. The game feels pretty good. It's a fucking fighting game. It's pretty simple. Not a whole ton of characters. 10 out of 10. Crunchyroll. This game sucks dick, and that's why I uninstalled it. Danganronpa 1-2 Reload. It's weird how it's 1.2. It's like a fucking Kingdom Hearts HD remix, but no, This is the PS4 compilation for the first two Danganronpa games. Funny thing, I have a PS TV, which is basically just a Vita without a screen and an HDMI port. And I originally got it when I first graduated high school. And I got it basically for two games. I got it for Persona 4 Golden, um, and Danganronpa, as well as like Danganronpa 2, maybe Freedom Wars, maybe Virtue's Last Reward. But ever since then, every game that anyone gives a shit about has either stopped having people who give a shit about it, or it's been ported to PS4. So Virtue's Last Reward, 999, all that stuff, all that went into the Nonary Games compilation. I had a PS. The only two games I ever bought for the Vita were P4G and Danganronpa 1. And I sold my Vita copy of Danganronpa 1 to just get the PS4 version. Um, and with the Vita now no longer being manufactured in any country, I don't think. Yeah, it's yeah, the Vita is or the PS TV is literally just a Persona 4 Golden box. And without VLR there, without Danganronpa there, with any level of exclusivity, there's no reason to have it. And once they're reportedly remaking Persona 3 and the Persona 5 engine. But if they do that with P4G, or if they just port it, then the Vita's fucked. The Vita is literally obsolete. Like the Wii U, for now, the Wii U is not completely obsolete. Not every Wii U game has been ported yet. Wonderful 101 is still on the Wii U, but for fuck's sake, the Vita does not mean life. Funny thing, my brother has a dog named Vita. And he named her because she's a little black, bold Chihuahua mix. So she's like a Chihuahua with a little pug face. She's really cute. He named her after the Greek word for life, not because of the Vita. He didn't know that the Vita fucking exists, as most people don't. I barely know it exists. Danganronpa V3. Oh yeah, I guess I didn't really talk about Danganronpa 1 and 2. Yeah, they're fucking good. They're both good. I like them. Danganronpa 2 is the best. Let's just talk about Danganronpa in general. Danganronpa 2, it's funny. I played the. If I'm remembering correctly, after I beat Danganronpa 1, I was. I moved into this current house shortly after I beat Danganronpa 1, so I did not have the time or money to get into Danganronpa 2. And I was really riding the hype wave because the 3 anime was coming out, and I was really excited, and I was getting really into the lore or whatever the fuck. Um, and it was, I just ended up reading all spoilers for the second game. So I ended up playing 2 after I beat 3, I think. Because I knew the whole story. Um, but yeah, this was one of those instances where I'm not one of those people who thinks that spoilers always matter. Because even playing Danganronpa 2 last, and knowing pretty much everything that happens, I would say it's still the best one in the series, purely because of Nagito, obviously. Um, but the supporting cast is generally a little stronger. Chapter 2, I believe it was, with Peko and Fuyuhiko, that was really heart-wrenching, had a lot of characters. The very end of Chapter 4 with Mikan, oh yeah, spoilers, I guess, for this fucking 7-year-old game or whatever. Um, yeah, it was, the very end of that case was the only part of the whole game that I thought was frustrating. And, you know, if I just talk about all of Danganronpa, this is gonna take too fucking long. Oh, shit. And I meant to cut this video. I'm trying to make these, kind of short chunks. But Danganronpa's good. I have a podcast that I just need to fix the audio on about what I really think about Danganronpa in depth. And I'll release that maybe never, maybe someday.